All right, we got a little bit of a throwback here. 2004 Golf AWP engine. We're going to be doing a couple jobs here. We're going to be replacing the timing belt based on time. We're going to be replacing the valve cover, spark plugs, ignition coils, and ignition coil connectors, as well as doing some repairs to the PCB system, the side coolant flange, and I think that's about it. Let's see if I can remember how to do this.
This is kind of crazy.
Okay. Here we go.
What are those fuel lines?
Evap lines, fuel lines.
How do you remove them?
Just the little push connectors on here.
Squeeze, push down, and pull up.
Yeah. Fuel return, fuel supply. Gas actually smells pretty good. That's a surprise. Open this up. Open this up.
P25, the tiniest splash shield.
Oh yeah.
$17 mil. 5 of those. Spraying.
A little lube on these clamps before we attempt to unclamp them. There. 7mm. $7mm. 10mm right there.
10 mil.
Star on there.
I've seen a charge pipe like that.
Yeah, it's an old pancake charge pipe. No oil in there. That's amazing.
No oil.
We'll get back to these in a minute.
6 Allen and some 19s. What is that?
Lower rat hose. We're gonna drain this out.
Let a decent amount of coolant drain. Make sure you put your hose back on with the clamp.
Get that back into the holster there. Gonna drain the oil real quick while we're under here.
Drain the oil. Still 19.
The OG 19.
New plug every time. 19 mil. 30 Newton meters.
Torquer to 30.
30. Fresh oil filter.
You don't have to go crazy there. Just snug her down. We'll come back and clean this up a little bit more when we're done. Just put the cap on just so nothing falls in. We've got some Phillips. This is how you know you're working on an old car.
Reservoir screws.
door right out of the way. Unplug the N80 valve. Get this stuff tucked out of the way. Got all our fuel and whatever lines here. That'll be alright. N80 valve, unclip. Power steering. 10mm there.
What's in the back?
I always unclamp these. These are charge air pipe hold downs. This is going to give you a little more room to actually get the motor mount bracket out. So take a little extra time, do this. You'll be thankful you did. Get that loosened up out of the way.
See what that looks like. That's what they look like.
2 13s. Okay, we're pretty loose here. Now we got a pin lined up here.
What's the pin look like?
A pin, a pick, a drill bit will work for this. Detention attention.
After the serpentine?
Yep. Put the pin in to lock it open.
Yep. Remember the direction of the
Remember
belt?
the direction unless you're changing it. This belt actually looks good. I'm gonna keep it.
There's the pin, dead center.
Pop this 7 off here.
Seems dry.
Seems dry. Man, throttle body could probably use a little cleanup. Disconnect the connector for it.
What size?
5 Allen. This is also not 100% necessary, but it's going to give you a little bit of room when you're down there. Okay, yeah, throttle body's pretty nasty. It could use a good cleaning. That hose that supplies the turbo coolant. And here we go. We got 3 13s holding the serpentine belt tensioner on. Loosen up this motor mount first. 16.
2/16 for the motor mount. Putting the jack under what part?
Oil pan.
Yep. With a pad. We're jacking up the engine
Okay.
so we can pull the mount. Two 18s.
2 18s. mount ain't great, but it's gonna have to do. Okay, that gave us a little more room to get this tensioner out. 13. Leave that bracket connected there. We'll pull this hose out of the way, make some room. I don't want to lose that. That'll be fucking bad. Tensioner feels good still. Getting close. You see that with this out. I was able to kind of turn that direction and not destroy this. A lot of people cut this tab off. You don't really need to. If you make enough room, you'll be okay with having the tab off. Belt still feels pretty good, but I'm gonna keep on going here.
Pulling the engine mount bracket off.
Engine mount bracket coming off.
What size?
16. This inside one's always the hardest. The tightest fit. Okay. Third one on the bottom here.
Tight one to get out.
This is what I always felt was the hardest part of this job. We're going to leave that for a second.
What are you doing here?
We'll crank it around the top dead center quickly.
How do you tell if it's top dead center?
We've got two timing marks. So we have one right here.
Yep.
It's going to line up with right there. And then we have one down here. I'll show you when we get there.
Yep.
You gonna hold the light or what?
Yeah.
Nope, right in this track. There, right there. 19. Okay. Well, indentation lines up with the notch in the crank right there. See it?
Yeah.
It's faint.
So, let's see if I can zoom in on here. It's extremely freaking hard, right? And
come on down here. Now we got 4/6 Allens holding the crank bolts on. I always feel lucky when these come off without stripping. I would say 6 Allen is probably the most stripped bolt of all time. Something about a 6, it never gets a good bite. Okay. 10 millimeters for the covers. We got one more up in the middle here. Top half, bottom half. There's the indent. They go like that.
Can't go out the bottom of the back.
Yes, we're going out the bottom and the back here. There it is. A little bit of persuasion. We got the mount out. I usually leave the mount right there.
Alright, just tuck it in the back.
Yep. This car's definitely had a water pump at some point.
How can you tell?
It's got the little recycled logo on it. Timing belt, I don't know. It looks good, but this car is new to me, and the last thing you want on a 20 valve is to blow the timing belt. That would be a huge problem.
Now what are we doing?
We're just touching up the timing. This is a pretty standard trick on all the old 09A VW stuff. Shine the light down the hole. When you're near top dead center, this bolt hole right here and this tooth will always line up with this ridge on the front main seal. Marks here in gray, because you know you can really see the gray stands out.
Up to the yellow.
It's out of ink. Down here, you're not really getting good light down here, sport. Still no light. Look how marked there. Okay.
The gray mark there, gray mark here.
We got our mark on the crank. I'm going to replace the hydraulic tensioner, so I'm not going to lock it. I'm going to put a fresh one in.
Look, it's getting hotter out.
We got 210s holding that guy in there. Pop them out. Oh, slide the belt on. Okay, see here with the port. It's a Gates. It's a 119A. It's a later one. It's hard to tell. Definitely been replaced, but I don't know when. Better safe than sorry. Got an 8mm Allen
What's that?
on the tensioner here.
On the tensioner. Mil right there.
Remember, you got a washer back here. Don't forget that guy. Definitely looks new, feels good.
Water pump is next.
Okay, get the 310s for the water pump oil. Yeah. Water pump coming out. Looking for a date of any kind, nothing. Alright, I'm not a big fan of the aftermarket stuff, but you can't beat this price. Continental is the manufacturer of this belt for us anyway. This is a super nice kit. High quality tensioner. Our part number's been shaved off of it, which is always a good sign. Nice factory water pump with a plastic impeller, which I always recommend. Do a plastic impeller. I know everybody hates them, but everyone with the metal just leaks. Good Continental belt. And a very nice tensioner. I also got this, which is important to put these things on.
Silicone spray on the water pump O-ring. What size?
10 millimeter.
10 mil.
Okay, let's get them close.
What torque spec?
15 Newton meters.
15?
15 on these. Okay. We got the tensioner. This little thin piece of metal here, this little tab. That's going to slide in right behind that front main seal. So you want to make sure you slide her in there. Get it seated in that groove.
And what's it held in with?
210s.
210s. I'll get a shot of it.
Later, Bumsky.
Adios.
Better for you to go out and cut the grass.
Alrighty. That's what it looks like.
Get these guys torqued. 15.
15 newtons.
Okay. We got the
Tensioner
tensioner right here.
with the timing belt.
We're not going to thread this in all the way. We're going to
Lightly snug it.
not even really snug it. Let me see.
get it in the hole.
It just like doesn't feel good. Oh, it's like a tiny booger right there. Look at that. Right out of the box after I was just praising it, saying how great it was. Are you going to move it around?
Keep it kind of loose.
Alright, you want to clean up the spilled coolant and timing belts. They're like fucking don't mix. Really bad.
Tad's friend with the TDI.
Oh, Monday, Tuesday?
Burning a hole in my loaner.
Okay, I got the bottom belt on. Keep the tension on the front here.
Yep. And we're going to put all the slack in the back.
Yep. Hold on.
You're going to do your little...
No, I don't need that on this belt. This belt's like super pliable. So you always take it and just turn it to the next available tooth. Take your slack from here, put her in there. Pretty firm pressure. Get it on.
So you keep all the slack in the back and keep the front tight.
You keep the slack back here so the tensioner can take up the slack. But there's not a lot of slack on this belt. This is a pretty tight belt. Okay. I'm going to torque that.
How do you know where the tensioner has to go? Okay.
This to 27 Newton meters. Okay.
And that's the tensioner. Tensioner 27.
That's not the tensioner, it's a hydraulic tensioner.
Okay.
So before you release the hydraulic, take your 8mm, lift up, and put your 8mm in there. In between the arm of the tensioner and the pin of the hydraulic. So the belt is pre-tensioned mechanically with this 8mm. Alright?
Alrighty.
Alright, now we're going to crank it around. Two revolutions. Perfect. All right. Lined up right here. Nice. Lined up right here. Nice. We're good to go there. Then you take your pin out. Now it's self-tension. That's all.
The belt is on. And what are we doing here?
Just going to put this sticker on, that way
You know.
we'll actually be able to say that this happened.
ready.
All
Putting
right,
the
let's
engine
get
mount bracket back in that we just tucked in the back.
So, get that guy in there loosely.
Hard one to film, hard one to film.
Really?
Well, it's not.
Put up from the bottom.
Upper lower cover.
Over the lower stand first. Okay.
What size screws?
10 millimeter.
Alrighty, so we put the upper and lower cover on.
Long time.
Alrighty.
This is a good time to try to
Slide it in.
fish this in here, yeah.
So if you rock it to the back, you can not
You gotta
break
rock
anything.
it a little bit back, a little bit forward, like, and then you gotta find the sweet spot to lock it into the lower cover. Okay. Long one goes in the front, the long 16.
Long one in the front. Which is the engine mount bracket.
Yep.
How many are there? Two?
Three.
Three, what size?
One on the bottom, 16.
16. Impressive. Somebody was in here.
It was probably me.
Yeah? You don't remember the car?
I remember this car, but I don't remember putting a belt on it. But this is like, if I put a belt on it, it took like 2014 probably. Even more than 2014.
6 Allen.
6 Allen. Good. Here.
You want to do what with
I
them?
want to rewrap them. You can see the sheathing is like super brittle.
Yep.
So we'll give them a quick rewrapping up.
And just want the tape out of Bum's.
Yeah. Plan was not a good one.
Alright, installing the motor mount back in place, held in with 2 18s, 2 16s, and 2 13s. 216s, 213s.
We're popping this out so we can slide this over a little.
So what are you using the bar to push the engine over?
Yep, so I can be nice and center on the mount.
And what are we installing now? The
The bracket, 13s.
serpentine,
I'm sorry, the serpentine belt tensioner,
serpentine tensioner. What's it held out with?
313s.
313. The harness bracket.
Harness, hoses, holds a couple different things. In here.
What hoses?
That's the coolant reservoir hose right there. Let's not forget about our wiring there. Another wire for our N80 valve. Want to plug that in now. $10mm with a stud on it. Put these back in, your evap line.
You want to do those wires before you get too crazy?
No, I can get those wires right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get those all along the
Installing the 2 Phillips in the reservoir.
Okay, we'll leave these off for a second. That way we can tape this thing up.
What is this?
Throttle body. He's on here.
How much?
10 newts.
Cross pattern. Ten newtons. 10 newtons.
Plug it in, don't forget.
Plug in the throttle body harness. Plug it on your hose. Charge pipe. That makes more sense. $7 mil.
Okay. Make sure your harnesses are all. Toast.
Disintegrated.
Putting this thing in. It's not available anymore. It has a part number on it though, which is promising.
So what, do they just buy the old stock?
Yeah.
Put it in their box?
They're supposed to. Supposed to rebox it and
13s?
13.
216s? What are we installing here?
Getting this charge pipe back in.
Size?
10 millimeters. Okay.
Installing the serpentine.
We pull the pin out from the top.
Pull the pin out from the top.
Alright, at the side cover we have this little tab right here. Tab slides into the rad support. I'll line them up with the studs there.
Charge pipe going back in. Quite the unique charge pipe. Is that clamp in the right direction? 10 mil. Some brake cleaner. Don't ever sell it. It's a strong request.